He is not here, he has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. My speech could stop here because this pretty much sums up the story behind Easter, but my speech won't stop here. Today I'm going to tell you the story behind Easter, what led up to those two sentences, and why those two sentences are such a celebration to the Christian faith. Although the main point can be summed up with he has risen, that means nothing to someone who does not know why he rose, how he rose, what he rose from, and who it is that is rising. But first of all, I'm going to tell you who it is that is rising. It's Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And why did this particular man out of all creation have to be the one to die on the cross? In the Old Testament, people sacrificed they had to be a perfect animal or a perfect lamb. And Jesus Christ was the only perfect man to ever walk the face of the earth, so of course it had to be him. And why is it such a big deal that this person's rising from the dead? Well, because not many people rise from the dead. Actually, nobody has risen from the dead except for Jesus Christ. Warren Wiersbe states in his commentary of Matthew, "Be loyal," that we must never underestimate the importance of the gospel. Not only did he rise, but also he had to die in order to rise. And the way he died was a terrible death, and he did that for you and me. But what did he do during his death? We'll start from the beginning. Jesus arrived in Jerusalem on a donkey, and they treated him like a king. They laid clothes on the ground and branches for him to walk on. But little did they know that in 8 days he would be going from treated like a king and praised to being insulted and hung on a cross. David Platt says in his commentary, Christ-centered exposition over a period of 8 days, Jesus entered Jerusalem, cleansed the temple, challenged the religious leaders, instituted the Lord's Supper, got arrested, was tried, was crucified, and then raised from the dead. He was beaten and mocked for you and me, even if we didn't even know him. After they beat him and crucified him for no reason, he says in Matthew 23:34, he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." He did that for us, but thank God this isn't the end. Platt writes, moreover, this righteous king would be victorious on behalf of his people, for he is the Savior King, and victorious he was. 3 days later, the two Marys went to the tomb where they buried Jesus to check on the tomb. When they got there, an angel appeared to them and said the famous sentence that goes along with the whole Easter. The angel said, "He is not here, he is risen, just as he said, go and see where he lay." That sentence right there marks the beginning of Easter and why we celebrate Easter. It shows how something bad can turn into something so much better. He died so he didn't have to be separated from Christ anymore. Because our Savior rose, Wiersbe states, we have a living hope. We can experience hopeful living. In conclusion, I hope you learned a little more about what Easter was, and I explained why Christians celebrate Easter, and I hope that you remember next year, you remember this speech and what it really means to celebrate Easter.